the year has passed.
Absolutely. Just has flown by. Like, wow.
Oh, and it's such a privilege though to sit with
Yeah,
one of my classmates, which is one of my classmates that I have a lot of common things with, and sit and
right.
have tea with her.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Great. Great. So you remember we were at that dosa place talking about our projects
Yes.
and yeah, I what I never asked you was like how is that going? So I know you sent it over to me. I donated for that. So how's that going? Did that
Yeah.
fundraising get over?
That is going really well, and it's become much bigger than whatever I described at that time, Sheetal.
Yeah.
I remember. So this is a project that I have been involved with for almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
This is a project helping refugee kids from
Okay.
border towns in Burma, which border with northern Thailand. Refugee families from there are literally driven out of their homes and are
Yeah.
spilling into the Thai countryside. So Hope Thailand is an NGO that creates learning centers for these kids so that they can continue their education while they are
Okay.
displaced. And the idea is, of course, that someday they will be able to return to their homes. But unfortunately, this conflict has been going on for decades.
Oh, wow.
And they have not been able to return to their homes. So these learning centers have kind of become permanent places of learning, like schools for them. And they are keeping up with their national Burmese curriculum, giving exams even in these schools. And now there are 775 kids enrolled in these learning centers. So,
That is
when I
amazing.
came across this project, it was smaller in size than it is now. But I've been very happy to be part of their journey, helping them create their first computer lab, and also sponsoring the creation of accommodations, safe residences for these kids,
That's
because
super important. Super important.
everyone in education policy talks about building schools, keeping kids in schools, but what about the commute from where they live to the school?
Yeah.
That is the dangerous part. They often have to walk through, snake-infested sugarcane fields. Can you imagine?
Mm. No,
Every
yeah,
day
that's
going to
crazy.
school and coming back. So that
Yeah, that's
was the
crazy.
problem that Hope Thailand was trying to solve. And I came in contact with them. And once I
How Burma? How Burma? How
Yeah,
Burma?
how Burma. That's a fascinating story. But before we go to how Burma, I want to ask you about your project too, because at that same lunch over dosa, I
Yeah.
was so fascinated to hear about your work in rural India, sponsoring the education of so many kids and especially encouraging kids to pursue sports. So tell me more about that.
So okay, so sports is a big it's there. It's like my in the future dream because when I realized I actually if you remember I wouldn't even talk about my organization because I was so like inferiority complex, right? Like people would talk huge. And
Mm.
I had done only 5 kids at that time. This year we added six
Especially
kids.
people at Harvard, all around us.
So if you remember, we went for that meeting and we started to introduce ourselves for education, and everybody was like, "Oh, I've done 300 kids and I've done 500." And Smart was like, "I advised the Nigerian government on education," and it was coming to my turn, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've done only 5 kids at that time," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, can I just sit under the table and just hide?" Because I was so embarrassed that I'd done so little. And but I remember you saying, Sheetal, you shouldn't be embarrassed because every little thing that you do makes a difference in that person's life. And I was like, yeah, that's
100%.
true. So I should not be embarrassed or ashamed of how little I've done. And have the courage to talk about it, right? Like, so that stayed with me. And I was like,
Right.
that's nice. So
Oh,
this
that's
year
so
we
good
will
to hear that that comment I
absolutely.
made such an impression on you.
Yeah. And so this year we've added 6 more kids, of course, like
Amazing.
various grades, like second grade, second standard, sixth and seventh, and things like that. So six
And
children.
although what you're calling as small, I wanted to confirm that you're actually sponsoring their entire education,
Yeah.
aren't you?
Right, right.
That's
The full
amazing.
full years. So my biggest achievement is when my first girl got a job at TCS. Now
Amazing.
two others, they both are sisters. Both of them graduated. One got a full scholarship. at
Wow.
Noida, graduation. The other one's got three offers. She hasn't decided which
Yeah.
one she's taking. So for me, that's like, okay, they've now settled, they've
Mm.
become independent, and that's like fabulous. If
Right.
my whole thing is again the sports thing, right? Like when I started researching, okay, so back in 2008, I started looking at Olympics and all that. And
Mhm.
there it was, India getting three medals, China getting 100 medals. And for me, it was, you remember at that time, it was always India, China, India, China. And I
Mm.
was like, how is it that same Asian, same developing countries, same number of population, and then our excuses are always we don't have the facilities, and yet China was giving a run, like a solid competition to America. And I was like, oh, I need to
Yes.
do something about
America
it. But
and
of course,
Canada too. Yes.
so when I started looking into it, it's very difficult to kind of sit in America with limited funds to kind of motivate kids and find kids who are good at sports. So I
Yeah.
said, let me table that for now. Let me just
Sure.
help with the education.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I have more money, like if I hit the lottery,
Yeah.
I will take it
Or you get funders,
funding.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, there
And
are
so
there are
then,
funders, philanthropists,
yeah.
foundations who would be interested in your kind of work.
I hope they listen to this
Yeah.
and they come. So that is what it is, right? Identifying 1 point something billion people, and you're telling me we can't compete in the national, like in the world level. Come on. I don't, international level, I don't believe it.
Right.
So there's where I'm like, oh, I just wish I had more money, more time, where I could actually go
Yeah.
and identify these kids, train them. It's a
It,
big undertaking. It's a
it's a big
huge,
undertaking, but it's an admirable vision. I
yeah,
really
yeah,
find
if I
your
can make it
vision
happen.
inspiring. And you begin with the vision. One of the
Right,
things that I learned from working with Hope Thailand is that, the reality is I'm calling these kids and families refugees, but in reality, they don't have the official refugee designation. And that is a big part of the problem
right.
because if you're not designated a displaced person or a refugee,
Yeah.
all the funding that comes, all the aid that comes from international
Yeah,
organizations like UNHCR,
yeah,
all the asylum proceedings,
right,
you're just not eligible. And the
right,
reason they're
right.
not counted is because the Thai government does not recognize them as refugees. It's only one of two instances in the world of massive displacement over decades, which is not recognized as a refugee situation. So, the political economy of it
Wow.
aside, um, I learned from this work with these displaced children and still educating them, still creating opportunities for social mobility for them.
Yeah,
I learned that a small vision, but
yeah,
done with dedication and
right,
doggedly over the years,
right,
actually makes a huge difference.
right,
And
right. No,
just like, your girls are now getting opportunities and
right,
jobs and
right,
scholarships, this is
right,
my vision for these Burmese kids as well, that we created a computer lab. I hope we
right,
can train them on digital skills. And
right,
someday I hope that one of them trains the younger
right.
ones. So it's really the
That's
vision,
the most important thing, right? The ripple effect.
the
And I've
ripple
written that on
effect.
my website too, that creating that ripple effect. Like I do, again, my vision is to do 500 girls by the time I die. But imagine if those kids do two each, that becomes
Right.
1,000 kids, and then 1,000
Absolutely.
do two more. And some, maybe 10 of them might do like me, like they might be land up doing 500. I haven't done 500,
Exactly.
but I will do it
But
before
you
I
will. I
before I
think if
die.
you say it, you will.
I will do it before I die. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah.
that ripple effect pulls these people out of the poverty line. And there
Mm.
are three siblings, and I keep telling them, get your jobs, build your mom a house. That'll be my biggest thing to come to your own house someday.
Yeah.
It will be like fabulous for me. That'll be like,
Absolutely. And hota kya hai in this context of international development, um, there is a lot of emphasis on measuring and showing impact
yeah,
and measuring and showing massive impact. So
right,
scale
right,
has become the holy grail of our
right.
profession, right?
Yeah,
But I feel that not every problem needs to be solved at scale.
right. No, I
Also, because many problems are contextual.
Right.
right? So something that solves a small problem in your immediate surroundings, in your city, in your community, or in your home country, as
Right.
you've done for India, that is still a valid pursuit.
Right. Right.
And it makes lives better. It makes a
Right.
deep impact on fewer lives, but that impact is just as important and meaningful as a surface level impact on many 100,000 lives.
But yeah, so go back to that, right? Like, how did you? So my motive is, I've come here to America and I want to
Yeah.
go and give back to my country. But how did you, like,
Yeah,
yours
why
seems
Burma, right?
even more selfless. Like, it's not your country, it's not, but it's you're giving back to something. It seems so much
Well,
more noble, I feel.
oh, thank you, Sheetal. It's very kind of you to say that. But
But yeah, yeah. So why? How
I,
come
I,
Burma is
I,
Burma?
I honestly feel that every country is my country,
That's
because
fair.
I relate to people as people. So,
That's fair.
when we are having this conversation, my mind is not labeling you as a Indian person,
Right.
or as a person who is migrated to America, or as a brown person. None of
Right.
those labels are active
Right.
in my mind at this point in time, and that has been one of the greatest takeaways for me from my
Right.
travels. I think I
Right.
must give a lot of credit to my travels,
Totally.
for opening my eyes and opening my mind to really looking at people as people anywhere you
Yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
you realize that people are more similar across the
Or
world
same. All
than
same.
different. So, although I have a special place in my heart for India, I always will, because I was born there, I grew up there just like
Yeah.
you. And I'm always eager to make a difference there. But that
Right.
doesn't preclude making a difference anywhere else.
Right.
Why Burma was actually a result of total serendipity. So you won't believe this. I had taken a sabbatical with my family in 2019. So between 2019 and 2021, I think. Yeah, no, 2020, when COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were traveling to seek out educational experiences for my daughters, and it was one of our adventures. But during that adventure, we spent a month in Chiang Mai in Thailand.
Oh.
Yes, so Chiang Mai is very close to where the little villages along the border of Thailand and Burma are. And just through a common friend we were meeting in Thailand who had decided to retire in Thailand, he said, "Hey, after retiring, I'm working with this project. The
Yeah.
founder lives in Thailand, and you guys must meet her." So we met her over a coffee. Her name is Tutu,
Oh.
and she has literally raised this NGO out of her own funds and her own efforts over the decades. It's similar to you, as a service to her tribe. So
That's
the
awesome.
refugees are from her community. So she wanted to do that. So she
That's awesome.
came, we had a chat. She told us about the scale of the problem, the barriers to solving it,
Right.
and also her work with raising so many learning centers. So it was just 7, 8 hours of a drive from where we were. And she was generous enough to say, "Well, if you're willing, I would be happy to drive you to the project and show you my work."
Oh,
So we
nice.
just, chance pe dance. We said,
That
let's
is
go
awesome.
and spend those 7 hours with her in the car. Let's understand why she's doing what she's doing. Thailand
Yeah.
is beautiful anyway. So
Right.
we went and saw her project in a place called Mysore. And
Nice.
Mysore, you would be surprised. It feels like there's a border between Thailand and Myanmar. There's just a bridge. I
Oh,
could have literally like walked over the bridge, taken a day trip in
nice.
Myanmar and come back. So
Wow.
there, she took us to two different of her learning centers,
Right.
and you won't believe it, Sheetal. I saw those kids. I saw them singing and dancing, all in uniforms, little kids doing art. And
Nice.
when we when we introduced them to we showed them our computers, because digital
Yeah.
education was something we wanted to do there. Those kids just took to those like my daughters.
That's
They had, outside the
awesome.
classroom, they had their slippers neatly lined up. All their
Yeah.
slippers had Disney characters, and I could see, I could see my daughters like looking at them enviously, like, "Ooh, she has a Minnie Mouse slipper, and
Ah, how
this guy
cute.
has a Goofy or something." But that moment, watching my daughters admire the slippers of displaced kids, some of them orphans,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really made my mind go, like, kids are not different. They are just the same everywhere.
Right.
And then
No,
what
you're right. You're
uh,
right about that.
what sealed it for me really was on the computer. We said, which songs do you guys know? And they said Baby Shark. My
Ah,
daughters would love Baby Shark. We loved Baby Shark. So we played that song. All the kids there danced. My daughters danced with them. And we
correct.
danced with them. And that moment I knew that, I cannot abandon this community simply
Wow.
because it has come into my field. It
That's
doesn't
awesome.
matter which country, which religion, which race, it doesn't matter. There
That's
must be a reason why this community came into my field. And
that's
then since then, I have never stopped working with that.
that's awesome. Prajakta, that is so wow. That's such a nice story. I didn't know any of this. I
Yeah,
just knew you did something, but I didn't know you it was this much. Yeah,
thank
so
you. Thank
I
you. We were too
totally
busy studying at Harvard to talk about the
sorry.
stories.
So I